Hi guys, Mike Martin here. Right, I think this is going to be a really interesting video. So you can probably see from the screen how to create the perfect sales webinar. So my 10-year-old had a week off school. So I thought rather than him pissing around on his computer and messing about and everything, I thought I'll take him into the office and I'll give him a week of studying, okay, which is really unfair as a parent. And as you can see, so basically what I told him to do, I said, go through this book, I want you to read this whole book, and I want you to give me the points, the key points you think will be helpful for a business, for anyone trying to sell anything, okay? So if you're into sales, this video might really help you, okay? I've not read through all of them properly. What I've done is had them all placed into slides for me in the numbers. I think there's 38 points that he's picked up on. Don't know if you can hear the seagulls in the background. They're really kicking off. And I'm going to go through them now, and I'm going to share them straight onto my YouTube channel. So as you can see, there's a heck of a lot of tabs he's put into there. So let's get going. Okay, so number one, any business from self-help to software or even a car wash can benefit from a well-structured webinar. And when we talk about webinars, guys, we're probably talking about sales presentations as well. Let's see. Number two, a webinar should give a solution to one problem, because too many solutions at once in a webinar can cause a variety of confusion for the audience. Well, that's actually completely true. You should cover one specific subject when doing a webinar. Otherwise, I'm going to shut the window. I'll leave it recording, but I'm going to shut the window because those seagulls are going mental. But yes, a webinar, to avoid confusion, should really all be based around one specific subject, and you should target that subject in different angles, in different ways. So, very smart. Let's have a look at the next one. Giving customers too many product choices will cause them to spend a lot of time deciding, whereas if you give fewer choices, they're more likely to make a simple decision and make it quick. No way does he get this. Yeah, the example I always use was with the sunglasses shop. If you walk into a sunglasses shop and there's like 500 different pairs of sunglasses, if anyone's ever had their eyes tested and they need glasses, you'll understand this. And you can be there for hours and hours and hours, and you're never completely happy with the ones you walk out of the shop with. Whereas if you walked into a sunglass shop and they literally had a podium in the middle with one pair of glasses on, and it's like, these are the only pair we sell, then you're just going to buy the ones and leave, aren't you? So, too much choice, yes, totally agree with him there. 4, it's best to make a webinar for certain types of people with certain types of problems so you can catch their attention easier. So I think what he's trying to explain here is that you should know your audience. Yeah, completely. I mean, if I'm writing a webinar for milkmen, it's going to be a completely different presentation than if I'm writing a webinar for vegan milkman. I don't even know if that exists, but anyway, brilliant point. Love it. Let me have a look what he's put next. You must understand your audience and their problems so you can create a solution to their problem in your webinar. I was going to say sales presentation in your webinar. So yes, you need to understand your audience's problems. Find a solution that simplifies a problem that they've got that's difficult, and you'll win. A webinar must inspire people to listen to you and follow your instructions instead of educating them about your webinar's topic. And that's completely true. If you educate somebody too much, they feel like they've got everything they need from the presentation and therefore won't buy what you're selling at the end from the sales presentation. Sometimes people will buy products depending on their emotions, but consider their purchase reasonably later, which is why you should sell it on an emotional level, fucking hell, and justify it logically. I'm so proud of him. Brilliant, he gets it. Okay, cool. Okay, yes, next. I'm not going to say anything about it. It totally explains it. He's right. When selling products, you want to give the benefits instead of the features and show them how it can help their business so they will buy it. Okay, so we're talking about a sales presentation for businesses, but this is any sales presentation. Sell the feature, not the benefit. Sorry, wrong way around. You got it right. Sell the benefits, not the features. Yeah, love it. Okay, next. You can tell I'm dead excited because I'm proud of him because he's my little boy. I've not read through them all. I've been put into slides and I'm sharing it with you guys live. Speaking to the individual is an efficient way of making them feel special. So they'll listen to you and buy your products because they think you're selling to them direct. What he means by this is because we're talking about a webinar. If you're talking to the you and rather than saying all of you in an audience, you're speaking to the individual, because on a webinar it's an individual sat behind a computer staring at a screen. So what it means by that is you're trying to talk to the individual as opposed to talking to the whole audience and make it feel more personal. So it's brilliant. I'm so pleased he understands that. Putting the listener into loops, holy shit. is what gives them a reason to stay until the end, so they buy your products. Anybody who doesn't understand what a loop is, most sitcoms do it, most TV shows and things like that that you watch do it. They open a loop and you're like, oh shit, what's going to happen? And then it ends. And you're definitely going to turn up next week to watch it again. You do the exact same thing in a sales presentation. If you're still here in 20 minutes time, I'm going to show you how you can get 10 times more customers into your business for only spending half as much money as you do now on ads, or something crazy like that. Anybody who's got advertisement, who spends money on ads, will then look at this and think, oh god, I'm not leaving until I find out what the answer to that question is. So what he's trying to explain there is about the loops. Micro commitments is a way to make the customer commit to buy a simple and small offer, and then gradually build them up to a huge commitment of buying more expensive offers from you. So he's talking about micro commitments there, getting people saying yes on a regular basis, or getting them yes to purchase something small. If you're interested in marketing at all, then one of the most famous ones, I think it's Perry Belcher who I've seen talking about that, is the tripwire. So basically, you give them something free, then you give them a tripwire sale, which is something small, low ticket, like $5 or $7. I think a guy called Russell Brunson changed that into free plus shipping offer, and he gets you into the free plus shipping and then sells you something else. So, yep, okay, micro commitments, get it, it's absolutely awesome. If you can get the audience to nod their heads and agree with you, it will take less effort in selling to them. Okay, brilliant. If you ask the listeners questions in your webinar, it will get them to listen to you and answer you. If you ask if you ask the listeners questions in your webinar, it will get them to listen to you and answer you. So what he's trying to explain there is that there's more interaction. Questions breed interaction. That's why you say to a customer, have you ever seen this? Do you understand this? Does this make sense? Things like that throughout the presentation. Or can you see why this will help inside of your business? Or is this something you can see working in your business? Lots of different ways, and it builds people's interaction with you on a presentation. Let's see what else. It's also a good idea to offer prizes when asking questions, which in turn will dedicate them to listen to you when you need them to. So basically, yeah, if you turn around and say $50 for the first person who gets this right, and everybody in the room all of a sudden perks up. If you make people like what you do by inspiring them, they are most likely to buy your products. Brilliant. Sharing stories of how you got successful with an audience will show how the product has helped you throughout the days, months, and years. Selling how your product works is not a good idea, and it's better to sell what the results are if you use it, which will cause the customers to buy if they believe there's a good outcome. So what he's saying there is sell the future. This is a 10-year-old kid, guys. He's smart as out in it. Yep, so selling the features of your product, is it or how it works, and going through and saying it does this, it does this, it does this, people can't see. It's like, when you learn how to use this, this is going to be what your life looks like in the future. If you limit the amount of how many people can buy, it will force them to buy because they fear of missing out, FOMO. Michael Bowes taught me about this years ago, and it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, fear of missing out really does work. Obviously, you've got to be legit about it, because a lot of these guys take the piss and stick on countdown timers that are evergreen and stuff. But yes, if you limit the amount or limit the time, things like that, yeah, people will jump on board quicker because they're scared of missing out. People do actually act more from fear of missing out than fear of gain. And what we do on a lot of our presentations is we'll go through a list of everything you're going to get, and then we'll kind of spin it and give it a whole 180, and then we'll go back through the same list and say, if you don't get on today, this is what you're going to miss out on. And then we talk back through the list of stuff that they're going to get, but and you're going to lose this if you don't get on now, and you're going to lose this, and you're going to lose this. And we see more sales coming in at the lose this point than we do on the this is what you're going to get part. So tip for any sales guys out there: when limiting the amount of people allowed to purchase, try doing it 3 times a week. Don't get it, don't know what that one means, guys. When limiting the amount of people allowed to purchase, try doing it 3 times a week. I'll ask him. If you give your audience a reason to buy your product straight away, then they're more likely to buy. Whereas if you don't give them a reason to buy on that day, they will most likely never buy. So what he's trying to explain there is that you want to say, you need to buy now. there's a timer on here, there's a limited number, there's a bonus if you buy today. So if you purchase this right now on this presentation, I'm going to give you this bonus. Or if you don't purchase before the timer runs out, then you're going to miss out completely and you're going to have to spend XXX. Or this is a 5 times better deal than you can get on our website, so if you don't grab it now, you're not going to get it at all, or you're going to have to pay 5 times more for the same deal. If people did not see your live webinar on the day, replay it for them so they watch the whole thing through and buy your product or offer. Okay, so he's basically explaining that you need to push replays. We do about 2/3 of our sales on the replay, so people who say replays don't work are full of shit. When finished with your presentation, add a countdown video for how long until the offer is gone, so they'll be forced to buy. It's getting a bit pushy already. When making a webinar, don't try and talk about you and how you use it, because the audience are very likely to have only 3 things on their mind: money, their business, and themselves. Oh, shit. Well, I guess if you're selling a business, yes, health, wealth, and relationships are the 3 main categories, guys. So yes, on their mind, money, their business, and themselves. And time maybe as well. Brilliant. The only good way to talk about you in a webinar and get people to buy is try and make them imagine being in your shoes and be successful off the product or offer, but keep it short. Love it. If they ask if this offer / product can make their job easier and wait until the end to get the answer no, they will never attend a webinar of yours again. But if you answer at least near the end or in the middle, I think he means near the beginning or in the end, they will know you haven't wasted their time. So what he's trying to say is this presentation is for 2 kinds of people: this person or this person, or 3 kinds of people: this person, this person, and this person. And if you're anybody else, it's probably not going to help you, so bugger off. What he's trying to say is if you do that early on in a presentation, you're then in a position where people will turn back up to your presentations because they're like, well, he's going to tell me at the beginning whether it's for me or it's not for me, so I'm not going to sit there for an hour listening to him talk shit if it's not for me, not knowing, which is great advice, especially if you've got an audience of people who follow you and you're not just targeting cold traffic. Letting your customers know if they buy a product that they don't like and they can return it, they will trust you more and try different products of yours. Yep, I always have a 30-day no questions asked money back guarantee, simply because, we sell quite complicated products and it doesn't fit everybody. When talking about a certain topic in your presentation, do not talk for ages about one thing because it will bore the audience and make them leave. Yes, I think they say you have 7 minutes. Could be wrong. Anyway, like it. Don't try and sound bored and emotionless in a presentation or webinar, as this will also bore the listener. It's completely right there. If you think about it, whenever somebody's boring and dull and got a monotone voice and it's like you just want to punch them in the fucking head and tell them to get off the stage, don't do it. Yeah, just talk in your own voice. I've got the worst accent in the world. Sometimes I'll go into a presentation and we'll close 75% of the room. Okay, which is usually quite unheard of numbers. And it's because I don't try and put on a stupid stage voice. I don't try and talk posh. I don't try and lose my accent. You just focus on being yourself. Selling facts about a product and talking about what it does won't get sales, and instead try to tell stories about people who have used this and how it's made them really successful. There will be a higher chance that the audience will buy. Absolutely love this point. I have a story structure that I follow for absolutely everything that I do, and I go and look for true stories about people who have used the product. So basically what I'll do is I find someone and say, this is XYZ and he wanted to achieve this. He tried by doing this, and this is usually the status quo that I'm talking about now. So he wanted to achieve this, he tried by doing this, and he failed because of this, which is the status quo where most people failed. He then bumped into us or found our product through whatever means he found our product or service, and he started then doing it like this, and this has completely changed his life, and now his life looks like this. If you can say this, so he wanted to achieve this, he tried by doing this, he failed because of this, he then found this new thing that we're offering, he changed how he did it, started doing it this way, and now he's successful and his life looks like this. It's an absolutely brilliant way of selling a product instead of turning around and say, oh, this has got this much RAM and this many gigs of data, and it's a lot of fucking bollocks, no one cares. Mainly focusing on a certain section in a webinar can lead to you rushing the rest of the webinar and you might miss something crucial. So always give the same care and attention to all parts of your presentation. What he's trying to say there, guys, is a lot of people will focus on the content section of a presentation. Okay, now this book here that we're talking about here that he was reading doesn't actually go into the close. I do a little bit on the stack and close at the end, but I don't go into into the close properly in that book. A decent close is a completely different book. But anyway, what he's trying to say here is a lot of people worry about the content section, and then they spend 10 minutes on the introduction and they spend 10 minutes on the close and literally all the time on the thingy. The most important part of any presentation, I don't give a shit what it is you're selling, is the close, believe it or not. And that's what he's trying to get across there. When making a title to your webinar, always make one that really stands out to the people you want to hook in, and try to use a form of curiosity. Absolutely brilliant. Yep, curiosity is amazing. It's probably the best thing in a headline, but you still want to hook the right audience. There's no point in getting 1,000 people in a room that really don't give a shit about what you're talking about. But if you can hook the right people into an audience, from an audience into a room, using curiosity and get them to stick, and then use hooks to keep them until the end, there's a good chance you'll make a lot of sales. Don't drag on too long with the introduction of your webinar, as spending too much time on this section will annoy the listener or bore them. So basically, the point of an introduction to a presentation usually is to build rapport between you and them, and to build authority, to let people know this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's not just some idiot that's gone through college and learned all the right words and can talk dead posh. He's done it, he's built a business, or he's built a thing, or he's been successful in this, or he used to be really fat and now he's really skinny. So what you want to do is build rapport. I've been where you have, and I'm no longer where you are because of this, and this, and that's why I know what I'm talking about. And this guy, and this guy will tell you how good I am. Boom, move on. Right, a lot of people drag this out for 25, 30 minutes, and it's just not necessary. Okay, there's 2 points to the introduction to the presentation. Build rapport and let them know you know what the fuck you're talking about, and that is it. Right, keeping a webinar short and adding everything in that they need to know is a better option than making a long webinar and talking about random topics to make it longer. Yeah, a lot of presentations you get on and 3 and 4 hours long. Some of the presentations I've been on that are 3 and 4 hour long, like Jason Fladley and people like that, every single section of the presentation is there for a reason. 50% of it's usually the close, okay, but every single section. But then there's a lot of guys of presentations I've been on, and it's just a complete waste of time. They just sit there dawdling, and it's like, what the? There's just no point to it. There's no strategy, no structure behind it. There's no reason for them to talk for an hour on something that's not going to help them convert sales at the end of the presentation. Because, I mean, the whole point to a sales presentation is to get the customer through the door, so the customer can become part of your community, and so the customer can start benefiting from what it is you've got to offer, not because they want to sit there for an hour bored out of their minds before they can buy. Try and prove to your audience that what you are selling works, and it will help their business very well. Love it. To make sure your audience buy your product live on the webinar, and don't just do it anytime on your website, add bonus products and offers that are not purchasable anywhere else, which makes it irresistible offer, and they feel the need to buy. He's a clever little shit, innit? Love it. Right, sharing with the audience how your product should be used and what it's worth will increase sales massively, because the customers want to know how they can make money with it and know if the price is worth it. Sharing with the audience how your product should be used. Okay, yes, so it's basically turning around and saying to them, not showing the features, it does this, and this. Say, look, if you try using it this way, you're going to be able to do this. If you try using it this way, you're going to be able to do this. And if you try using it this way, you're going to make a fucking shit ton of money and do this. So, absolutely awesome. Love it. Near the end of your webinar, explain there is going to be a countdown timer to buy the product whilst you answer questions, so customers have the urgency to buy. He gets it, doesn't it? Even if there is a question you think is obvious, still try and answer the question, as it may not be clear to the audience. This is actually a brilliant point, and this is the last point, number 38. There's a picture I'll show you in a minute, which is brilliant. Even if there is a question you think is obvious, still try to answer it. So in a lot of situations when you're the expert, you think, oh, well, the answer to that's obvious, and so you won't jump in and you won't explain it and you won't go into it. And a lot of simple stuff will keep you, I mean, like a backlink. It took me a year to figure out what a backlink was, because everyone just talked about it. I didn't know what the fuck it was. I couldn't figure it out. It took me ages. There's loads of stuff like that for years that I couldn't figure out what they were. And it took me a long time to figure it out, because nobody seemed to point it out, because everyone just who knew what they were talking about assumed that you knew. and you don't. So what he's trying to say is point that out. And then this, Cameron Martin, first wages ever. That's him stood in my office with his first ever pay packet. And yeah, very proud of him. 6-week holidays are coming up soon, so he'll be doing some more studying and some more work in the office. Hope you guys loved it. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye bye.